Three, two, one.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. So I've got a review tonight for the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, and I'm going to be incredibly blunt right up front. There's no reason for me to take longer than really 12 minutes to review this, because I just finished listening to my review or my grade for the Hitman's Bodyguard, and I gave it a B, which, I'll be honest, might have been a little low, because I actually just rewatched it with my partner last weekend to go ahead and, I mean, not like there's a lot of canon you need to remember, but to go ahead and just watch it with my partner and just kind of refamiliarize myself. And I gotta admit, my B might have been a little low. Really thinking on it, and I know it's going to be controversial, but it's my podcast, so who cares? I might have given this a B plus, maybe even an A minus. Again, yes. Is it a stereotypical action comedy? Absolutely. But the chemistry of Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, I think, is really well stated in that first film. So I'm seeing a lot of critics just kind of shit on this version of the movie. By the way, it did finish number one at the box office, went ahead and took down A Quiet Place Part 2. So congratulations to the film. But this is one of those cases where I go, if someone doesn't like this movie, I would go, you know what? I can't even fight you on it. And the reason I say that is because this movie, this is the perfect definition of, we're going to take a bunch of shit and just throw it out the wall and see what sticks. And in the case of this film, for me and my partner even said when we got out of theater that she would give it an A plus. And while I won't go that high, I'll say for myself, I had a lot of fun with this. For all the stuff they throw at the wall, a surprising amount of it stuck for me. And this is one of those cases where I would really tell people, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, but there is that, and it's a moving target for everyone, so that's why I kind of want to explain it. Where does your enjoyment of something start and end, and where does your criticism kick in? Because I could criticize the shit out of this movie. I could talk about the fact that they really almost go from one locale to another, and it gives you a title screen, and it's just, the movie is just like, hey, you know, you're here now. Really any explanation? Not really. Shut up. I could talk about the fact that Frank Grillo's character in here, which I will say, I always love seeing Frank Grillo and seeing him play Bobby O'Neill, which is such a fucking Boston name, and he clearly plays a Boston character here. I thought Frank Grillo, it was really cool to see him not as Crossbones, because, you know, we always see him kind of as that badass, but seeing him play a more comedic version, it's by no means in the same stratosphere, but it's really, my comparison that I would make would be something to like Jason Statham, Statham's tough guy in Spy, Melissa McCarthy's movie. Very much a parody of the character he kind of plays, and it actually works here. So the very thin ass plot here is that Ryan Reynolds, of course, is back as Michael Price. He wants to go ahead and get, you know, his AAA certification back. Just like at the end of the first film, he has not been reinstated. He is going to a shrink who is a terrible fucking shrink. He is just over his shit. There's even this point in the scene where he's clearly having issues, where he talks about how he has this dream where he's at the AAA awards and he sees Samuel L. Jackson's Darius everywhere he looks, and he goes ahead and just fucks his moment up. And how, you know, she goes, well, how often are you having this dream? And he goes, oh, once. And she goes, oh, that's not a week. And she goes, oh, well, shit, okay. I do wish that, how do I put this? I do wish that they would have actually shown how long he'd been going there, because it is very much a a gag joke in the sense of if you're just introducing the concept, you're having that dream. Is that your first counseling session with her? Like, that's actually really probably one of my biggest complaints about the movie is that. But she goes ahead, throws him out, is completely over his shit. And he goes ahead and goes on vacation. He's even got those Bose headphones in. He's reading The Secret, which made me laugh really hard. And he is basically grabbed and recruited by Darius's wife, Sonia, played, of course, by the amazing Salma Hayek. And I have to say, Salma Hayek, I want to say I don't know how old Salma Hayek is, actually. Now I'm actually genuinely curious. But Salma Hayek, the big thing that I have to take away from this movie is she's 54. Holy shit, is she really? Wow, Okay, so I'm just going to get this out of the way. There are so many points. Yes, there are points where they're in Italy and they're in Greece and all these locales. And the most beautiful thing on that screen is Salma Hayek. She looks radiant the whole fucking film. And the fact, goddamn, she's 54. Good for you, girl. But Salma Hayek is great in this. She's actually my favorite part. She gets to do some action stuff and gets to have a couple shootouts that I thought were actually really well filmed. This does feel like a step up in the action department from the last film. This one again is directed by Patrick Hughes, who, of course, as we mentioned in our first review for the Hitman's Bodyguard, directed Expendables 3, which his next film is this movie called The Man from Toronto, which I'll be curious how that goes. But it's got Kevin Hart, Woody Harrelson, Kaley Cuoco in it, so yeah, that could be something. But the thing about this movie that I really do appreciate is that it is randomness in the most extreme way. It really felt like a bunch of people got drunk and just went, all right, let's write this fucking sequel and let's see what we can get out of it. And the same head writer does return in Tom O'Connor. He, of course, as I just mentioned, did write the first one. Also wrote The Courier with Benedict Cumberbatch, which, if you have not listened to my review, that is on the channel. Spoiler alert, I love that movie. And it's really quite funny that is what he wrote in between The Hitman's Bodyguard and The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Watch The Courier if you haven't. It's a really well done film. And the co-writers on this are Philip Murphy and Brandon Murphy, who this is their first film writing. And I will say, for me, the jokes really did land here. It's just a bunch of rapid fire comedy. It's very Apatow-ish in that sense. But this movie, luckily, is under 2 hours. This is like an hour and 39 minutes. And it knows exactly kind of the length it needs to be. It's not trying to overstay its welcome. We get Antonio Banderas in this movie, who is playing this man who wants to go ahead and, restore Greece to its former glory using this device that buries under the ocean floor. It doesn't matter. Like he plays the villain. That's all you need to know. And he plays Aristotle something. I remember that because they make a big point of tying that to the Greek gods or whatever, but or philosophers. But Antonio Banderas, first off, a guy that has incredible chemistry with Salma Hayek. We've seen that, throughout their careers. And we get some scenes with him and Sam Jackson acting off each other. And those scenes were really fun. And while the movie, of course, the big kind of crux of the film, besides Ryan Reynolds, Michael trying to get his AAA certification back, is that Darius and Sonia want to go ahead and have a kid. And and I will say, where that storyline definitely ends was one of those things I just went, holy crap, I can't believe you had the guts to actually do that. There's a lot in this movie outside just action. The chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson is still there. They're both very charming and giving each other shit. I do appreciate the fact that Ryan Reynolds' spirit has become so broken that he is, for like the first, I'd say 2/3 in the movie, is really just witnessing people get killed in front of him, having their brain matter splatter on him. And he's just so broken and just not in the mood to be a hitman at this point, that it actually made me go, huh, okay, this is actually a joke in itself, and that's actually making me laugh. Morgan Freeman's role in this movie, I don't want to spoil it, but what Morgan Freeman's role in this film is, it is fucking amazing, and something I didn't, again, really didn't think they'd have the balls to do, but when they do it, I went, you know what? Okay, this actually works for me, as dumb as this is. And there is something we get as far as Michael's quote origin, as far as why he wants to be a bodyguard, that while it's played for comedy, is actually a scene that I went, that's a little dark. And I appreciate that there's something there like that to go ahead and give this film a little more weight. The way that people get killed here, it's brutal. Yes, again, this is a comedy, but this is a rated R comedy, and you are seeing people get shot in the head and, like thrown out of windows and shit and exploded. So the movie doesn't shy away from any of that. The big action set piece, I would say for myself, is there's a scene where Michael and Sonny are in a club, and they're going ahead and they have this briefcase, and the way that scene actually plays out was really well done. I went, okay. And again, Salma Hayek, she probably is doing most of the action in this movie. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds and Sam L go ahead to get some action in as well, but most of it's Salma Hayek. And for that movie that just came out for Angelina Jolie, Those Who Wish Me Dead, you get a lot more Salma Hayek action scenes than you get Angelina Jolie action scenes in that. And that was really my biggest gripe with that. There is some great comedy used here. I mean, obviously Salma Hayek is Salma Hayek, so there are definitely some boob jokes in here that did make me giggle. Even this one joke where they're riding in this van going down some steps, and she makes this comment, I'm not wearing a sports bra, and I went, okay. So a lot of little kind of just like, things like that I went, you know what, this isn't like knocking me on the floor, but the stuff that really did hit as far as comedy did really make me laugh. There is a whole sequence where Morgan Freeman's character is introduced, and he's talking about Michael, and that whole sequence, as emasculating as it is for Michael, it is really funny. And Morgan Freeman, he's been in the game for a while. He can still deliver a comedic line, and that voice, he's still able to sound, badass whenever he needs to be. And so to get to the end of this, yes, is this movie dumb? Absolutely. I cannot fight anyone who tells me that this movie is stupid or that they didn't like it. That's fine. If that's you, fair enough, because comedy is one of those things that is so subjective. I would just kind of go, all right, I enjoyed it, don't know what to tell you. But for seeing this at an early matinee, because my partner and I saw this like at 11:35, pardon me, I will say I laughed hard. I laughed hard too. We both were laughing. There's a point where the movie kind of gets towards its climax, heading to the third act, and I thought the third act here was actually better handled as far from an action point than the first film was. You get more of kind of a definitive ending and a more action-packed ending, and I actually like the way it was executed. Again, this movie does set up for a third one. I think they're gonna make a third one regardless, because I think this film will make money, just because there's nothing out for a couple weeks. Well, Fast and Furious, never mind, what am I talking about? But I do really think that this would even be a fun double feature with Fast and Furious. And I am just going to say too, considering that there's already a car doing a Tarzan swing in Fast 9, and people are going to give this movie shit, like the Hitman's Bodyguard pretty much let you know what a sequel would be. So it kind of laid its cards out on the table. So I don't know what to tell y'all, but I enjoyed this. So as far as a grade, I gave the first one a B. And again, I would say I rarely want to change my grades on here, but I would probably say it's closer to a B plus or an A minus. I'm going to give this a solid B. It's something that really worked for me. It's something I'll buy when it does come out on 4K. But I really had fun with this. Again, is it dumb? Absolutely. But did I laugh? Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it's what a comedy needs to do. So Yeah, solid B from me. But Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, have you seen it? What did you think? Let us know in the comments below. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at Nearman the First. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple and Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and TuneUp, to name a couple spots at The Real Pineapple. And don't forget to like our gaming pages, or our gaming page at Real Pineapple Games. That's REEL, Pineapple Games. And go ahead and like us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We'll have reviews up this week for Luca, the new Disney Pixar movie, as well as gonna have the Fast and Furious saga reviewed. I think the one I might hold off on is Fast 5 because I do have some friends who want to get in on that review. But we'll have reviews up for the Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and the Furious, and then Furious 6. So I'm gonna have reviews up for those as well. I don't know if I want to review Tokyo Drift and torture myself, so we'll see, but we'll have reviews up for those ones at the bare minimum. And then, of course, soon, we'll have a review up for Black Widow, which is coming out in a couple weeks. I am so excited to watch that, as well as some gonna review a couple things for Pride Month before the month gets is over. So we'll have some other stuff for you as well. But thank you so much for listening, everyone. Take care of each other. Wear a mask. Get your COVID shot if you haven't gotten it yet. Seriously, go get your COVID shot. And take care of each other again, and we'll talk to you soon.